All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see if for its local search is city search, see if it's got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph down below here in white. Got our highest intent peeps. Over on the left is a peep searching for, boudoir photo shoot in my city, and they're searching that today, things like that. And so people the easiest convert, closest to the money, and we make a video. The videos we make are about BSS, kind of first getting found by these peeps. And over on the right, we got our lowest intent peeps. So we talk about over with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and right now we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means we're dying pretty fast because that means we're on page 2 or deeper if we got 0 slots page 1. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. And that means we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2 or deeper. And that means our business will be down pretty fast. Also, 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good enough anymore because every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is basically going to have 1 slot. And there's 10 organic slots. So if we got 1, there's going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. We're not sending it out. We're not looking special. We're not looking differentiated. And as a result, boudoir photographers actually, or boudoir buyers, they're just going to click to all 10 people's website, opens everyone's website, submit a contact form for everyone, get a quote from everyone. And as a result, everyone's going to get price shopped, compared to death, price shopped to death. We have no pricing leverage, pricing power, just because there's so many options. And this is what approximately 80% of buyers do. The other, they're just page 1 only. So, we really only got to worry about the peeps on page 1 for approximately 80% of buyers. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. So it's not normal to have such a small number of slots page 1 Google search as a boudoir photography business owner. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, with market saturation, what actually happens is the kind of over time, more boudoir photographers enter the market. Normally it's because people upgrade their gear, they get a new iPhone, an awesome camera, or new camera itself. They just decide I'm gonna throw up a Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir now, or they get a website created, say they're now a boudoir photographer, or they're posting the mom groups on Facebook saying they now for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers, and as a result, we actually run out. We basically kind of get out competed. It's just harder for every other boudoir photographer that's in the market. Now, there's 2 deeper root causes. The first one, market saturation. Yeah, I did that. But the most important one is this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is something boudoir photographers kind of auto-accepted, haven't really thought about. But many have felt that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, maybe their website was, page 1 slot 7. Then some new boudoir photographers entered the market, and then their link, their boudoir photographer basically link got pushed down to page 2 slot 2. So they're saying like, man, I help those people delete their websites, and Google brings me back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mentality. Google actually allow us and wants us to take as many page 1 slots on Google as possible as we're willing to put in the effort to take and acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know Google literally will give us as many slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire, which means the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So when you only got 0 1 slots page 1 Google, disappearing boudoir photographer, because if we got 0 slots page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1, we're still basically invisible. because we got one slot, same as the other 9 competitors on the page. So yeah, we're getting form fills, but probably 10% or less of those are converting. And this is kind of the disappearing boudoir photographer is kind of the warning sign, the warning symbol, the canary in the coal mine, saying that now our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to, is actually on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we have discovered a solution. We discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there in as many placements as possible. And this is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow on the east side, the back side of those mountains. So what happens to that snow is it, melts into small streams, flows into small streams and then small rivers, and eventually all the melted snow collects into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River, that's page 1 of Google search. So we got to get the snow up top first, top of the mountain, so it can melt and come down, and that is S-cube methodology, is getting that snow up there. Everything flows from S-cube methodology. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable boudoir photography business to still have a chance to grow, even in a ever-saturating, boudoir photography marketplace in a relatively quick, and give that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution that gives that same benefit of enabling business to grow in a saturated marketplace that I've seen that is as strong as S-cube methodologies is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 8, for like 5 to 10 years. That is, that's way longer than our, S-cube methodology to kind of get that power to grow. And dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. No, dude, AI is here. We do not have 5 to 10 years to wait anymore. We need to be building momentum now. And interesting, one of my estimates is that using S-cube methodology, my estimate is it'll actually enable boudoir photographers to, basically acquire and have a large, well-known brand in their area, approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because, we're being seen way more, higher volume, higher frequency, and more surfaces, more touch points. And so that's kind of my own estimate. And an example here, S-cube methodology, we are going to LA. Let's say we're in LA and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. And so, over a million websites trying to rank page 1 Google search, ultra competitive. And we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So we've decided, man, our only hope here is S-cubed methodology. So we fire it up and we crank it to the max. So let's say we crank it to the max. And we take literally the first 300 slots across all the social searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And then we also take the, let's say those flow onto Google search at a, and we take the first 300 slots Google search. Well, 10 Google slots per page. So we're taking out literally the first 30 pages on Google. And so when a boudoir buyer searches for anything related to, high intent with boudoir in our city, we're basically the only one that comes up when they search on social, when they search on Google. So if, they got to go to slot basically 301 to find any of our competitors. So if that's the case, what is the whose business will most likely be growing in this situation? Probably ours, utilizing S-cube methodology. Whose businesses will likely be failing? Slowing down, disappearing, failing, going invisible. Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photography competitors in our city, because we're basically the only one buyers can find. So this is kind of a, kind of the most extreme example of what S-cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. And yeah, initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google, cool. And every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And when we make them invisible, they're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. That means we can basically control, through our effort, how many of our competitors would kick off, make them disappearing boudoir photographers, and make their boudoir photography business, be on the path to disappearing. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually like this initial benefit. And page 1 visibility actually is boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Because when we have these, basically everyone else can have 1 slot, all the other competitors. So we're going to be dominating them with our 3 slots. And the ultra rare scenario where someone has 2 slots, well, we got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So allows us to dominate in basically all scenarios. And finally, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. So I wanted to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS Boudoir. So I strictly use S cubed methodology. That's my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I actually I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely by utilizing S cubed methodology. Now onto the main event here. And check this Boudoir photography business. I'm going to see, check its local search, check its city search, see if that BSS, yes or no. So let's see. Going to Williamstown and Defiance, Ohio. All right, Williamstown. Yeah, nice. All right, get rid of these. All right, let's see what we got. See what we got. Okay, I'm not seeing us here yet. All right, it looks like we're at 0 out of 10 slots, page one Google for local search. All right, now we're gonna check city search. Let's see, go down to organic. All right, here we go. All right, so city search, we got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 5. We got 6. All right, I wonder if I switch these searches up. I wonder if Defiance is the local and the other one's the city search. But all right, so all right, we got 6 out of 10 for this one. So that's insanely good. So let's go. So local search, Williamstown, Ohio. That one must be the city search then. We do have BSS. We got 0 out of 10 slots page one on Google. We're not hitting the GBC recommend minimum 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google. But for the local search, Defiance, Ohio, we are hitting. We do not have BSS. We got 6 out of 10 slots page one on Google. We're definitely meeting the GBC universe recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. So insanely good. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, either have BSS for one of those, or you're not meeting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for one of those. And you realize this means you're starting to disappear. A disappearing boudoir photographer. This is the first kind of flag, the first kind of warning light. If we start becoming disappearing here, eventually the business becomes disappearing as well. And you're seeing SQ methodology like, yes, this is exactly what I need. This is what you've been wanting to use or wanting to have as a solution for a while. And you've already broken out the false belief of page one equality. And you understand market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, okay. And you're loving the initial awesome benefits, SQ methodology, more links page one Google, kicking more competitors off page one on Google, kind of making them become disappearing boudoir photographers. And you're looking ahead and you're seeing, since you understand market saturation, you're actually seeing that AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs more and more over time. So it's literally going to be kind of bringing in a larger and larger amount of boudoir photographers over time. So you're realizing you got to fortify your position on page one on Google. Not just get it right now, but actually kind of build up even excess links in the back end in reserve. That so many links out there that actually prevents any future competing boudoir photographers from getting on page one either. And you're saying, okay, SQ methodology is also the only thing you see that can accomplish that. So it's kind of a near-term extra benefit. And you want to achieve boudoir search page one visibility, so that you become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need those things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand the future back-end benefits of becoming the #1, or of utilizing S-Cube methodology. Is basically the first one is you're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of like plugged into your brand, plugged into your business name, your website, your social media handles, or kind of like spokes, hub and spoke, plugging these different spoke columns into your brand that actually bring, that actually eat up mind share in the backend Google AI kind of like mind brain. And so, that every day we successfully execute S-Cube methodology, higher chance you'll be getting recommended here AI overview, because you're basically bundling up kind of these, these building up repetition, authority, relevance, frequency, age of these invisible thematic keyword columns that takes up AI mindshare, which also increases the probability of recommended AI search. ChatGPT growing AI search growing every single day. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Google search is still, approximately 90% of global search, but AI search is literally growing every day. It's what I use most frequently. It's basically just give me the summary. I don't want to click through it after reading and figure these things out myself. And I know last time I did search for boudoir photographers in a city that I got 3, and then I went searching myself on Google, and there's like approximately 60 in that city. So I'm like, okay, we definitely got to be building momentum here, increase the probability of recommended in these 3 slots. And you're seeing, okay, S-Cube methodology is the only thing that will build these invisible thematic keyword columns for you to achieve this increase in probability of AI search being recommended for AI search. And you're also understanding that, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you decide, hey, you're going to jump on this first, get all these initial benefits, box out your competitors so they can't use me, build up this kind of invisible momentum gap with your competitors to where, we can get it to where essentially they can never, ever catch up to us. And, the converse, if your competitor were to work with me first, that you'd actually have to go rederive or derive S-Cube methodology for yourself. And then you'd have to go execute it. But you would never be 100% confident putting in the time to execute it, because you would not know if you've even derived it correctly in the first place. And, when you'd have to equal our execution every day with me and your competitor, and that's simply to maintain the gap. To actually make up progress, you'd have to double or triple our output every single day using the system I invented, and to close that gap, be able to basically pull that AI mindshare back from me and your competitor, kind of those invisible thematic keyword columns. And who's got 80 hours in a day to do that? So you're like, screw that. You've decided you're going to be first mover of your city to actually get all this stuff done. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed, not taking any new patients. But when my DMs do open, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S-Cubed methodology.